My name is Joe Wehinger. This is Daily Ovation. Thank you for watching. Recently, we were honored to be invited to the South African Wine Lunch. It was a fantastic time. We heard from Ambassador Malangwa, and we got to hear about the wine and the history from their United States representative, Jim Clarke. Here's the one little side note I'll give you. Sometimes at live events, we don't always have the best camera angle. You'll see at the beginning, unfortunately, the information's good, you hear them fine, but it's not a great angle, so I do apologize, and please enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the wine tasting of the South African wines. I'm standing here, my name is Boy Mbelengwa, I'm the consul at the South African Consulate in Los Angeles. On behalf of the Consul General Daniel de Brain Grady, who because of unforeseen circumstances could not come, I would like to welcome you to this beautiful event where we are going to taste the special wines from South Africa. So this occasion is an annual event which is organized by the South African Consulate General together with WOSA, which is Wines of South Africa, led by Mr. Jim Clarke from New York. A round of applause for Mr. Jim Clarke. Thank you. He will be taking us through the courses of the wine tasting. On a somber note, we are having this occasion during the 5th commemoration of the death of Nelson Mandela, who died on the 5th of December 2013. And we are also celebrating 100 years of Nelson Mandela, together with Albertina Sisulu. These are the two freedom fighters who brought about the much freedom that we're enjoying in South Africa. So because of that, we really appreciate your presence here. At the same time, mourning with the American people for the death of H.W. Bush, who died on Friday last week. So we are mourning with the nation of the USA. So we want to say, enjoy yourself, enjoy the South African wines, which taste better than all the wines in the world. So
that's all you need to know.
I would like also to take this opportunity to introduce the members of the South African Consulate General. I have Aleta Maseko, who is also the consul at the Consulate General, and Naomi O'Donnell. She's the one who invited you people to come here at this special occasion. Mr. Jim Clarke, over to you. You can take us through the courses. Thank you.
Welcome everybody. With this long table like this, I'm actually going to stand here in the middle behind the console. I think that's the easiest way for everyone to hear me, but if you just raise your hand, I'm a New Yorker now, so I tend to be loud enough for people. First of all, I would say cheers and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. In your glass, obviously we're not serving champagne today because we would want to serve South African wines. What's unique about South African bubbling is, thank you, Matthew, is that they actually, South Africa is the first New World country to develop a term for its traditional method sparkling wine that doesn't steal from the word champagne. It's not California champagne, it's not Champagne, it's not even Method Champenoise. It is Method Cap Classique. This term was developed in 1992, just as South Africa was emerging from the embargoes and re-embracing the greater world, and the wines were beginning to be exported. Before that, they were affectionately known as Kapsafunkel, because the first producer, Simmonsig, named it Kapsafunkel, which simply means Cape Bubbles in Afrikaans. I think from a marketing perspective, I'm very glad that now we can say Method Cap Classique. If you're interested in the rules, they are very much similar to champagne, requiring the second fermentation to take place in the bottle. They are a bit more liberal about what grape varieties can go into them. It can include basically anything, though most of the ones you'll see will use the traditional champagne varieties of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. There's precious little Pinot Meunier in South Africa, but it does come up once in a while. One we have in our glass today is from a very important property called Backsburg, and it is actually kosher. Backsburg goes back to the Bax family, which were several families actually of Lithuanian Jews who fled during World War I and came to South Africa. And if you haven't tasted a Backsburg wine before, you've probably tasted a wine from their cousin, because one of the best-selling wines from South Africa in the U.S. in the past 20 years has been a brand called Goats de Rome, which the French took issue with and tried to sue, and it was the best publicity in the world. Thank you very much. And so instead of a Côte de Rome, you had Goats de Rome, and that comes from Charles Back. That's the cousins of Michael Back, who is the man behind this winery. The Backsburgs were also one of the first in the mid-50s and early 60s to move away from supplying the bulk market and things like that and really focus on estate wines in the 20th century. That's the 20th century history of wine. We're going to actually go back into the 17th century history of wine in South Africa a little bit later. But this important property that developed during the middle of the 20th century. This is 52% Chardonnay and 48% Pinot Noir. It's a pretty classic blend, and it's on the lease for 12 months. If you're into those sort of technical details, it's also vintage. It's 2016, and as I mentioned, it is kosher. I think they've gotten all your orders. Our first, we have 3 flights of wines. I'm going to kind of give you an idea of the themes here. After our Method Cap Classique, or MCC as the South Africans would abbreviate it, we have a round of Chenin Blancs. Chenin Blanc is the most planted grape in South Africa. It's about 18% of their plantings, which means they have more Chenin Blanc in South Africa than in the rest of the world combined. Whoa. It's about 17, almost 18,000 hectares. And if you compare that to the Loire Valley, which is where, if you have a sommelier background, you tend to think of Chenin Blanc. Well, they have about 8,000 or 9,000 hectares. So it's a little bit over twice what they have in the Loire. Remember also that 60% of the Chenin Blanc in the Loire Valley goes to making sparkling wine. So when you have wines like you see in front of you that are still not bubbly Chenin Blanc, you are probably talking about South Africa if it's just based on odds on an amount of production. After that, I'm going to come back to the individual wines in a minute. I just want to lay out the plans for here. After that, we're going to taste 3 Pinot Noirs. This is not a major grape in South Africa. It's only 1.4% of their plantings. But I chose it because, one, it's a very flexible food wine, and I don't know what you're going to choose for your middle course. And also, I wanted to demonstrate South Africa's cool climate regions. There's a whole area that wasn't really planted much before 1992, and now has become really exciting for being near the coast. They get that ocean influence and allows them to grow varieties like Pinot Noir that like a cooler climate than maybe a Chenin Blanc would, or a Cabernet or something like that. Finally, of course, we are going to have a couple Cabernets, and actually Cabernet-based blends, I should say. South Africa tends to be a little bit more open to blending rather than varietal labeling than most New World countries. So you'll find a lot of either Bordeaux-style blends or Rhone-style blends down there, or actually kind of blends that don't follow any European tradition whatsoever. Finally, and I'm trying to remember may I? Yes, I do have a surprise for the last course. So I think I'll save that till the end, because I want to do something festive for the holiday season.